welcome to the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. The action has shifted to Singapore for the second half of the group stage as 8 of the top teams from around the world prepare to fight for a seat in the quarterfinals and a shot at the Summoners Cup. We're currently looking at shots from the Singapore Expo as we jump to the LMQ team room as they get ready for the first match of the day. Their opponents in that one will be OMG. It's going to be a very big clash to kick off Group C. Welcome again to our World's Analyst Desk. My name is Trevor Quickshot Henry, and joining me on the desk for our first 3 matches today is our Players Club. Starting things off with Mitch Crepo Forceballs from Evil Geniuses. Next up is Neil Prali Hamad of Complexity. Third in line, Counterlogic Gaming's Peter Double of Peng. And of course, rounding out the table is Alberto Crumbs Renhifo from Team Dignitas. Guys, thank you so much for joining us. We're proud to tell you that every single match of the 2014 World Championship will be broadcast around the world in 16 different languages with help from 24 broadcast partners who are all working extremely hard to bring the excitement directly to you wherever you are in the globe. We will, of course, be looking at some of the broadcast partners, including the LPL team, who are providing coverage for our Chinese audience. Here's a look at the partners from OnGameNet in their dapper suits and vests, of course. And I think the team is looking ready. Here is Shox. So at the interview table, we'll be sending her to chat to some of the players later in the day. And, of course, our fantastic trio of shoutcasters, D-Man, Deficio, and Kobe in the middle, getting ready to cast the first 3 games. Hey guys, how are you doing? Right, now we're about to get ready for the opening ceremonies. Before we do, Singapore, it's a new venue, new 8 teams. What are we sort of looking forward to from these squads and this portion of the group stage, Crepo?
I just hope the crowd is as hype as it was in Taiwan, because it's been really good so far. We're visiting 3 different countries, and so far the crowd has been amazing. I know the Korean crowd is going to be amazing, so I'm just hoping like the bridge in between Singapore, I hope they're going to be amazing too. Going
to be some pressure on their shoulders. Yeah. The crowd yelling and screaming, I know it gets the players pumped up. You guys have had the experience of playing at some of the venues, you know, stateside. What does that do to your mentality and mindset, Crumbs, maybe?
I mean, just when you hear the crowd chant, for instance, you're going for a back door, and then they're like, go, 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 go. It can get you a little bit overhyped, though, that's for sure.
I do believe we are ready for the opening ceremony. So let's actually send it to the stage and check that out from the Singapore Expo.
This week, 8 teams have come from every corner of the globe to represent their regions as they fight to continue their quest for the Summoners Cup. Please help me in welcoming the teams that will be competing in the Singapore group stage of the 2014 League of Legends World Championship. Representing the North American League Championship Series and making their debut at the World Championships. LMQ, Ackerman, No Name, Xiaowei Zhao, Vasily, more. From China's League of Legends Pro League, a 2013 quarterfinalist making their second appearance at the World Championships. OMG, Going, Loveling, Cool, Sam, Dada 777, representing the European League Championship Series, the Season 1 World Champions, Fnatic, Soaz, Cyanide, Xpeke, Reckless, Yellow Star. From Korea's The Champions League, with the #1 seed, Samsung Blue, Acorn, Spirit, Dade, Deft, Heart. In Group D, from the International Wildcard, the first Brazilian team to qualify for the World Championship, Kaboom Esports, Lep, Danagorn, Tinones, Minerva, Dans. From Korea's The Champions, making their debut appearance at the World Championship, Najin White Shield, Save, Watch, Goon, Zephyr, Gorilla, from the North American LCS, making their second consecutive appearance at the World Championships. Cloud9. Balls. Meteos. High. Sneaky. Lemon Nation. The summer champions and #1 seed from the European LCS, making their World Championship debut. Alliance. Wicked. Shook. Froggen. Tabs. Nif. Ladies and gentlemen, your Singapore Group Stage challengers.
Getting ready for the Singapore group stage. I wonder how nerve-wracking it must be for those guys getting ready, knowing how important the games are coming up. We're actually going to take a look at the schedule to see how we kick off this first day of action in Singapore. And as we said earlier, it is going to be LMQ going up against their former teammates, OMG. We will see those teams a little bit later in the day when OMG will be taking on Korea's Samsung Blue. We've also got the very first match between Cloud9 and Alliance, which I'm very much looking forward to see how those teams perform. We will also see Korea's Najin White Shield, who are the Season 1 World, going up against the Season 1 World Champions Fnatic and newcomer Kaboom Esports from Brazil. They will all get their hands dirty at some point today on the Rift. Right, so those are teams fighting for 4 quarterfinal spots. I want to kick things off by asking you guys what we're looking forward to in this group stage, similar to what we did for the Taipei stage, but also with Prolly. What are you looking at from these 8 teams in this stage?
Might be kind of a surprise, but the mid laners in these 2 groups are probably the most impressive mid laners. And I think the 3 that are going to stand out the most are going to be Goong, Dade, and Froggen. Aside of those 3, those are going to be the mid laners that change the game. It's not going to be like, oh, how's the bot lane doing? It's going to be the mid lane will make the game or break the game. So I'm really excited about that.
And Crumbs, what are you looking forward to in this stage?
For me, it has to be, we get to see Cloud9 and Alliance, 2 top dogs in the region, face off against what is known as a 3rd weakest team in the Korean team in this tournament. So we get to see how these 2 teams perform and really stack up, and it gives you a little bit of an understanding as to how NA and EU could be doing against Korea.
Yeah, let alone against Koreans. I just want to see how they play against each other. I want to see how much has Cloud9 learned, how far has Alliance progressed, because it's been such a long time since we've seen them play. How is Balls and Wicked going to fight against each other? Has the Nidalee pick ban for Alliance been solved, or is that just going to be just a hole in their strategy? I mean, there's so much things to look forward to.
It's very exciting. Cloud9 and Alliance play later today, and then they both play Najin Shield tomorrow.
Yep.
Finally, Doublet, what are you looking forward to?
Definitely Samsung Blue. They're in the group of death, right? So, I mean, you'd kind of think maybe there's a chance for an upset, but they are the #1 seed from Korea. So, considered probably the strongest team from Korea. Samsung White was really unchallenged in their group. EDG kind of put on a lackluster performance. So, I want to see if, I guess, somebody can find like a nick in their armor. You know, if somebody can put up a fight against Samsung Blue.
Well, we'll have to see if anybody can. We talked a lot about the regional power. We've actually taken a look at some of the win-loss ratios from Taipei, considering it is an international competition. Talk to me a little bit about these stats, guys. Champions, of course, 6-0. Those are, of course, the Korean team. Samsung White, we see 2 more of them. LPL sitting at the top of the table, 9-4. NA LCS, 4-2 above EU. But just to defend EU, that's the 3rd best team that had to play with a sub. Crumbs, what's your take?
I think the sample size is too small. We only saw 1/2 of the group stage already, and we can't be making all these assumptions already.
I'll make one assumption. Korea is the best team.
Yeah, I was about to say.
I'll agree with you on that one, but I think it's unfair to give Kaboom already. Like, if you give Korea the assumption of 6-0, it's unfair for the other wildcard team to be 0-6.
Kaboom's going to win a game, Crumbs?
Yes.
Oh.
It's unfair to give them that a little bit.
So we've
0
talked
6.
top and bottom. What about middle of the table? NALCS above EU LCS, but we're going to see the rest of the teams.
That's so ridiculous to say because TSM is the first seed from North America, and they were in a group with SK, who wasn't even playing with their second roster, and they're the third seed from Europe. So it's like really hard to say, oh yeah, NA is better than EU. It's actually, to me, 50-50. But
incredibly hard for me to say, you know?
Yeah.
NA above EU, seen it before.
So probably middle of the table as we get this next group stage. Do you think those numbers are going to shake up and change?
I do think EU will catch up a bit. But I'm still with American Pie, and NA will not succumb to the EU madness.
I sincerely hope so. For you guys at home, we're going to be taking a look at this. I'd love for you to jump on Twitter and share your thoughts as well. And for more information about the likes of the teams, the players competing at Worlds, as well as some of the features and videos, head over to lolesports.com. You can also find a complete schedule where you can give a thumbs up to the teams that you think will win in each of the matchups. So submit your votes and we'll check in throughout the day. While you're on the schedule, take note that the games will start earlier on both Saturday and Sunday, 3 hours earlier than usual. So make sure you guys don't miss anything at all. And as we're talking about with that social media, we also want you guys to hit us up at LOL Esports. Send us some photos of how do you Worlds. Send us pictures of how you game face, or in other words, just see how you're enjoying the World Championship in the Singapore stage. Use that hashtag Worlds, once again at LOL Esports, to share experience throughout the entire show. Now, we do have to get to these games in just a moment or two, and we'll see how this is going to pan out. So we are going to jump over to a video feature in just a moment, and we're going to listen to the players taking us through.
Taipei stage was really cool. I really enjoyed watching the games. The caster desk, the crowd was amazing, especially when Taiwanese teams were playing there.
AHQ surprised me a lot. They did way better than expected.
所有人都认为 AHQ 不可能再胜 EDG。
ED 制五人拿着很大的经济优势推，然后 AHQ 没放弃，然后利用锤石就只字亮眼的就钩子，所以说赢得了这场比赛。
He gets hooked once again. This is real bad news once again. But where's the back of the monsoon comes out? They see that. Here comes Westar, and Name is down. They can take Baron, or they can say screw the Barons. Let's go for the win.
Royal Club vs TSM was pretty interesting for me because I didn't expect Royal Club to beat TSM.
Starwin, I guess, plays like amazingly on LAN, especially, I guess, Uzi just shows up.
Uzi looking for more kills. Exhaust will stop that from happening. Surely, he crashes. He knocks him away. Monsoon comes
I think it's fantastic hearing.
That was just simply amazing.
I completely agree, Joe. That was simply amazing. I like hearing from players who were in the other groups who are potentially going to compete against these guys chiming in and talking about it.
Yeah, obviously they'll be scouting the metagame for sure because this is the first time we see a lot of these teams in a long while, and they've all scrimmaged against each other, so the power picks will filter through, and it just shows you like what the metagame is somewhat going to be, especially in terms of Janna. Like we have Gorilla coming in hard, both are really good on Janna, so I'm looking forward to like see them play.
Yeah, you're totally right. I think the other pro players have like a way better realistic expectations. So when Ball says I was surprised to see TSM lose, I expect C9 to have scrimmed both teams and had to kind of gauge their power level. So they, I guess, were upset by or surprised by the results, and probably more so than we were.
It's a good line. I actually think we'll have to remember that for later. Guys, we are just about ready for our first match where LMQ has traveled a very long way to take on former local rival OMG. It's the number 3 in North America versus the number 3 seed from China. And to be honest, neither of these teams performed particularly well in their regional playoffs. You know, really didn't stand up and shine. Let's start with LMQ and talk about how they performed throughout the year and, you know, dropping the ball maybe towards the end of the summer split. Probably, what do you think?
I think the biggest thing was Zhao Zhao in regionals. Kind of surprised me. He didn't seem very proficient on Zed, which is huge in the meta right now. So I'm actually kind of worried to see how he'll do against Cool, who was bringing out the Ari in their regionals and doing very well. So I think if Zhao Zhao hasn't picked up Zed by now, and he's kind of leaning towards the Orianna picks like every time, he's going to be thrown off, or they're going to be working with a disadvantage and pick a ban.
Yeah, LMQ is a team, we heard that they went to China to do some scrimming and practice for Worlds. They're going to be facing off against OMG, who of course attended Worlds last year. They took down SKT T1K in the group stage. They fell in the quarterfinals to teammate Royal. OMG to me are the sort of stereotypical Chinese squad. They're very aggressive. They seem to look for team fights all the time. Crumbs, when you look at this matchup, LMQ's sort of been in the dark a little bit. What are you expecting from these squads?
I think that the matchup's actually going to come down to top lane, in that we saw Ackerman perform in NA really well when the meta was about mages, when he was playing Gragas, Lulu, and now with the introduction of Ryzen to the meta and Rumble, I'm expecting him to perform really well on that, and I know he's picked up Nidalee, so the top lane matchup, in my opinion, is going to be very action-packed, and there's probably going to be solo kills in it.
Double F, I got a question for you. LMQ, I feel like they struggled in playoffs. OMG seems to be a team that has proven they can tilt in the past. Is this going to be who can control the nerves better?
I think this is a really, really interesting game because both these teams are so different, right? So Xiao, to me, he's a very farm-oriented mid lane. He prioritizes farm, highest GP 10, or sorry, gold at 10 minutes. But Cool is a very bloody player. He loves to get kills. He loves to roam. He loves to play assassins. That's the exact opposite of Xiao. And at the same time, San versus Vasily, San's a very passive laner. He actually loses lane quite often. But Vasily, he's a super aggressive player. So it's a very big mismatch, I think, in style.
I feel like there is a lot of questions in this particular matchup. So with that in mind, Crepo, you haven't said too much. I want you to chime in on the most important thing. Who is your victor in this game and why?
I think OMG is going to take it. I think Goen's better than Ackerman in the top lane. I think the only way LMQ can win this game is if their bot lane wins and Vasily just goes ham. Because otherwise, both the solo lane pairings for OMG is just going to be too strong.
Prolly?
I definitely am going to go with OMG for this. I think they're going to bait the Orianna pick or bait a passive mid and be able to pick counters to it and kind of throw LMQ off their game.
Double lift?
I think OMG as well. They seem to be a more refined version of LMQ, and despite their bottom lane being really weak, their solo laners and jungle just pick it up.
Unanimous decision, Crumbs. Are you going OMG?
It's not going to be unanimous. I'm going to go with LMQ.
And why are you going LMQ?
Well, I think that we are underrating them. I think that we're basically funneling every opinion of both these teams solely on their playoff performance, and I think that the fact that LMQ was able to go to China and scrim kind of hidden away from everybody gives them an edge for this matchup.
Double lift, you're shaking your head a little bit. Why do you disagree?
I don't know. Like, No Names to me has never been very good, and Loveland is just super good. I remember last year, well, just think about it, this guy brought a jungle Yorick. Everyone's like, wow, he's amazing. He's probably the best Chinese jungler. He's back. It's the same guy, same roster. So, I don't know. No Name, I feel he had such a lackluster performance at playoffs, and the meta just really exposed him to be really weak to invades, aggressive mid plays, stuff like that. It's just, I don't know. I don't think it's going to work out for LMQ. I'm sorry.
I just really hope Dada 7 has like stepped up his game, because that might be like the one weak point for that team.
Well, I think we're going to find out. Let's take a look how you guys at home have been voting over at lolesports.com. You've predicted that 64% of you are siding with OMG, so a little less than the percentage here on the analyst desk. We'll see if the team returning to Worlds will end up picking up the win. Let's head it over to the caster desk for the first game here in Singapore.
Thank you very much, Quickshot, and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joined, of course, by Sam, Kobe Hartman Genza, and Martin DeFicio Lunger to take us through the first 3 matches of the day. So let's head straight into the starting lineups for this game. Over on the blue side, it is going to be LMQ from North American LCS. That means in the top lane, we'll be starting off, of course, Ackerman. In the jungle, No Name. Mid lane is Xiao. Vasily as the AD carry, and more alongside him on support.
And on the red side, representing China's LPL, it's OMG. Up top is Going. In the jungle, leveling at mid is Cool, AD carry San, and support Dada777.
And this game right here, I have to agree with Doublelift. When he was mentioning the jungle battle between No Name and Loveling, it's going to be so important, because Loveling, he's all about snowballing Cool and Going. If No Name can't stop him, OMG's just going to run away with the game.
One of the things that impressed me most last year about Alan, or Leveling, or whatever you want to call him, was his creativity. His jungle paths, he never did the same path twice. You can't get this guy down to a pattern, and you can't predict where he's going to go. He was one of the first guys in the group stages last year to do the single buff 2-minute gank and caught people off guard. He went for level 2 tower dives. He pulled out all kinds of crazy things.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. These matches, it's interesting. Obviously, Trevor hit on it. The fact that they went all the way to North America, LMQ, played through the Challenger, got themselves into the summer, managed to get through towards the qualifiers, they get to the World Championships, and they face OMG once again.
Exactly. A team who would know LMQ and know the playstyle they use to know how to play against it, because it's what they face so often in the LPL. I do feel like LMQ maybe has fixed their style a little bit and changed it, or picked up some NA stuff at least, and maybe that can surprise a team like OMG.
They definitely have picked up a lot of different things in North America. They spent a whole year of their lives to get to this point only, LMQ. So they definitely have the drive.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself is a heck of a lot of dedication. The fact that everything they've put into it has built up to this one moment here at the World Championships. It's a big, tough ask. I mean, they are in a group of death, as many have been calling it. It is a very tough group, and of course, they are considered to be the lowest seed in it.
Well, so is OMG, of course, coming in as the third seed here. They lost to Royal Club. They've been losing to EDG as well, managed to beat LGG to get to Worlds here. And it's a team where if you look at the players, again, if you look at Cool, you look at Going and Loveling, like they're the best players in their role in China. They're superstars. And yet the team seem to always have some issues, like internal problems. We have supports changing in and out all the time. I mean, Loveling used to be the support player. He was doing All-Star, the support player. And then Pomelo has been support, of course, at Worlds last year. He's gone. He's on actually coaching now their girl team, OMG's girl team, which is called Oh My Girl. Cool name. But, I mean, there's a lot of different problems. He had Cloud as their support before, who then got benched because he kind of flamed his teammates a little bit, and you don't do that, so he got removed as well, and suddenly they have Data7 now, who's been on the lineup for like a year, but as a substitute a year and a half maybe, and he's back.
But in himself, he is highly questioned as the support as well. You know, all these problems. And I should actually clarify something right now. The AD carry's name is San. We've actually gone up to him on purpose. Jat went up to him. I know, obviously, over the last 2 years, he's been San, Sun. It is San. So we got to make sure everybody gets that through to their heads. And
yeah, the thing is, a lot of these players, they don't care that much about how you say their name.
They really don't.
We went up to the same thing. We went to Zeppa, and we're like, okay, so some people pronounce it with a J sound like Jeppa, and some people are Zeppa, and he was like, which one sounds cooler? I don't really care. You pick. And they're like, okay, we're going to go with Zeppa then. He was like, yes, sounds great.
Sounds great.
So, all these wars over naming, not that big of a deal.
No, what matters is what you can do in-game. We are at the world stage right here. First game, again, it's LMQ managed to beat OMG or the other way around. Suddenly, you can look towards Fnatic, you can look towards Samsung Blue, which of course is going to be the hardest game probably in the group, and say we already got a great start right here. And I just feel like looking at the two teams, while they do, like, I mean, I can see some similarities between the two teams. They're still so different in many ways, especially because Vasily is such a dominant AD carry, and San is more passive laid back, passive laning phase, not super strong in the lane, but all about like these late game team fight and great positioning instead.
Yeah, so I mean, people are talking a lot about the bottom lane matchup in these two teams for good reason. Because Vasily is such an aggressive laner, and because he has this tendency to sort of dodge forward if you throw skill shots at him. Kreppel gave a long explanation on that at PAX. But really, I was thinking of strategies for these two teams, and OMG, they can actually turn this passive bottom lane around as something for their advantage. Because they have such a strong top laner going, what they can do is have the bottom lane ward a side bush, then start playing passively, let Vasily push up, call their jungler at the same time that they have going shove up the wave, and then when he teleports down, not only will they have the jungler there, but also if the enemy top laner decides to answer his teleport, he's going to lose a big wave up there, and there's going to be a few extra seconds to turn the fight for going down there. That's one of the easiest ways for especially Chinese teams, getting that first dragon, a kill down bomb and first dragon, snowball that into a lead very often.
And funny enough, it's actually a tactic they've been using in the LPL. Again, where going, he gets a lead in top lane, goes down bottom lane and helps the bottom lane, and they kind of have this domino effect where they snowball each other and they help each other as a team.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The game one is about to get underway. The pick and ban phase will start off. It is OMG versus LMQ. Obviously, all China, honestly, if you were to look at it that way. LMQ packed their bags and moved to North America, and it has worked so well for them over there. Crew a pretty sizable fan base, honestly, over in the North American scene, and really coming here representing the North American LCS. Pick and bans underway. Lee Sin, Aurelia being taken away. Aurelia, a big champion of going in that top lane. And of course, there's the Zilean ban. Kind of a staple diet through the world so far.
Yeah, we're gonna see him banned in pretty much every game, or we're gonna see him first pick. But the Lee Sin ban from LMQ, I really like it because Loveling as a jungler, he loves to make the big plays. Lee Sin is his main pick. And he's been very inconsistent. So I feel like if you target him, remove his comfort pick, which is Lee Sin, you might get him on a champion where he can make some mistakes in the first game.
Yeah, I think so far these pick bans, they're putting a lot of pressure on the jungle and support roles here. Because Kha'Zix and Lee Sin both banned out, these guys both like early dueling junglers. And both of these supports have had a lot of success on Braum.
Question is, are we going to see a Rengar pick coming here for either LMQ or OMG? If we look back at like the regular season, we didn't see a lot of Rengar. We barely saw any Rengar, and once we did see OMG play, they always lost.
So, first picks coming through. You can see, of course, the rest of the bans. Alistair and Kha'Zix was in there. Thresh first pick. That's a big one for me for LMQ because, of course, Tristana on the table has been a very successful pick for Vasily. We'll see whether OMG go with that one at the moment. Also with the Thresh picked in there. Yeah. Janna being the flavor of the month right now was set aside.
Question is, can Dada actually play it? I mean, I feel like LMQ with a Thresh pickup, what they do is they simply target towards Dada and try and do the same as with the Lee Sin ban. We're gonna hit your comfort picks. We know Dada is the weakest link on your team. He plays Thresh and Braum pretty much all the time. They're now taking the Thresh away here. Whoa. He's probably going to go Braum.
Yeah, I think it's definitely an obvious pick here for Braum. That's what he has had the most success on. But taking away the Tristana and Maokai in the first round here for OMG, I feel like LMQ definitely expected this Maokai pick. And they're going to run Rumble into it. We've seen this a couple times. Yep. This could mean some early pressure from No Name up top. Jarvan, very good early ganking jungler. A lot of teams have taken this Rumble Maokai matchup and turned it into feed our top lane Rumble until the point he gets level 6 where we can get Dragon control.
Well, you can see, of course, Jarvan and Rumble locked in there. Big thing for me is, though, No Name obviously was questioned on the analyst desk as well. He's only got a 1-2 record on Jarvan throughout the entire summer. So this is clearly something LMQ, they came back to China to practice, possibly against OMG. So they may well have seen this one. Interesting lock-ins as well. Nami and Elise.
And they came back to a region where Jarvan was very popular. So they've been practicing against very strong Jarvan players, and No Name's been talking with a lot of these other guys that do play Jarvan. I'm very interested to see if he does max that shield second, as a lot of the Chinese junglers do.
So this pick right here, if LMQ decides to lock in the Yasuo, will be one of the most contested picks between these two teams. Even look at the comp from OMG, you already have triple knock-up if there's going to be a last pick Yasuo from Cool, and it's been a great champion from him. He's been spamming it in solo queue in Korea. He had a game against Royal Club as well. We picked up like 20 kills and died once. They solo carried the team completely. So I feel like LMQ, they have to take the Yasuo here and make sure OMG can just lock it in.
Yeah, he's had a ridiculous amount of success on Yasuo over in North America. But really, I want to call out this Nami pickup for OMG. Dada777 is 0-4 on Nami.
Horrible.
He has a tendency to get caught out. This guy goes for deep wards, very dangerous wards, without having any support. So we'll have to see if Dada changes up his playstyle, because Nami is a very unforgiving champion to go for those wards with.
Syndra was finally locked in for Xiao Wei Xiao, has played it twice, but that's ballsy. Letting Yasuo through against OMG. It has been banned against them 14 times in the summer, and for good reason, because Cool is a very, very good player on Yasuo.
Again, the first few times he actually played it, it was kind of lackluster, but then he just really practiced a lot. He spammed it again in Korean solo queue. It's his most played champion. He dominated on it in the playoffs, and into a Syndra pick here. The lane matchup itself, Syndra can definitely harass him a lot and poke him a lot from range, but it is so hard to actually kill him because of the wind wall and because of the fact you have to respect an Elise coming in and then a knock-up landing from Yasuo, and you are dead instantly.
Yeah, I have to say, Cool's Yasuo is the best example of hard work playing off. He took this champion, didn't have success on it, and he put in the time. So much time in Challenger solo queue in Korea to hone his skills. And he came back and he had like 20 kills in one game, pulling it back out.
Yeah, it's interesting to see how this one's going to work out. We heard Doublelift talking about, obviously, the All-Star match when they played with Cool as well, because he came in as that substitute. I remember Froggen talking about how mechanically great Cool was, and the fact that he's on a Yasuo. We saw how good Yasuo players can be last week.
Let's just be real here. Cool is the best mid laner in China by far. He went one-on-one against Faker last year at Worlds and actually held his own ground here. He is a fantastic player.
I have to say, too, the Yasuo versus Syndra matchup, Cool, he's going to have a lot of options for dodging the Syndra stun. If you miss that Syndra stun, you open yourself wide open to aggressive with Yasuo plus Elise combo.
Yeah, some interesting combos. We'll see how it works out. And, of course, now that the picks are locked in, who do you guys think will take this first game? Tweet us at LOL Esports with either hashtag LMQ win or hashtag OMG win, and we'll be checking the responses a little bit later. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 1 in Singapore. The World Championships on the road. Taipei was a fantastic week. Let's see what Singapore brings us as Group C and D get underway. LMQ starting out as the blue team up against OMG on the red team. Will we see any fancy level 1 plays?
So the thing is, LMQ do have a tendency to go for level 1 plays, and they do have one sweeper starting here for No Name. So that opens up the possibility of trying to start on an enemy buff and using the sweeper to catch it out.
Well, let's look at the lanes here for LMQ. They have the Rumble pick. They want to have Rumble in a one-on-one against the Maokai. Not because Rumble is going to destroy Maokai one-on-one in the early stages. He needs to get his haunting guys before he can really take control of the lane. But because you want to make sure you can get your early haunting guys, you can be ready for the first or second dragon fight and get your mid-game power spike. The problem is, you have Twitch in the bottom lane. And Twitch is not a very strong laner, so if you go for 2v2 lanes here, it should be in favor of OMG, which can be very, very hard for LMQ to handle.
Oh, more coming around.
The shield is down!
Yes, just a standard basic attack from Xiao Zhao. Nothing coming from that aggression. Ward cleared off, nothing given.
Really, you're talking about this, the Rumble matchup. The most important thing for the Rumble early is the experience. As soon as they can get him to that level 6, then it gives them so much power to force those early team fights that we actually do see from both of these teams. So I think they are probably going to leave him up on that top side.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, they want to have him in one-on-one. It's more the fact can Vasily and Morda on this bottom lane, can they actually handle what San and Data7 can do against him with Tristana and Nami, which is a very, very solid lane, 2v2.
But San is known as the weaker laner.
Of course.
And being a little bit more passive. The fact he's on Tristana, I wonder if that's what LMQ are gambling on, whether they're just going with the fact that, okay, we're against a fairly passive duo. We should be able to stick this one out fine with Twitch and Thresh.
It might be the tactic. I mean, Vasily is actually AD carry in Europe and NA. If you look at both regions together, he's the AD carry with the highest CS at like 10 minutes and 20 minutes. So he's great in lane, great at farming. If he can manage to survive this 2v2 lane, the Rumble one-on-one in top lane should be able to pay off for LMQ.
I just want to point out here, whenever you're watching a Yasuo play in the mid, keep your eyes on the animation canceling. The cleanest animation canceling here so far from Cool. You save a lot of time and you output so much more damage.
Well, speaking of damage, back and forth down this bottom lane. But Xiao Zhao in the mid against Cool. Cool ready to pounce on this one. You can see he's got that wind built up, but Xiao Zhao manages to dodge it out. And if you are just joining us, of course, this is a North American LCS team versus a Chinese LPL matchup. Both number 3 in their region.
All right, so we did hit that 3-minute mark. The double bust for both junglers. Eyes towards mid. Because Cool is playing fairly aggressively here, they need some wards to back up his aggressive play or some jungle support. Leveling comes by, drops a ward, and he's there just in case they need a counter gank.
And notice how he didn't actually run top lane here, because he also had to respect the fact No Name could be sitting top lane ready fire command because he's pushing the lane. So we have the same setup in the top lane as we have in the mid lane, just for LMQ pushing up there. No Name could have been there for potential counter gank. We might see Loveling try and look towards top lane. He loves to go top lane, like him and going. They are the 2 shot callers and they love to make plays together.
Good stun from Xiao Zhao there, catching Cool out. That slowed his pace down a little bit. Xiao Zhao winning in terms of farm down towards the bottom lane. Pressure's been very much on Vasily and more. They've been pushed back for a fair period, which we'd expect early on.
No Name's
moment,
looking
San
to
Hexi
take
has a
advantage of this aggressive Cool. Cool has been looking for trades over and over.
He's going sliding in. Will he catch on towards him? Cool's taking a lot of damage here, but Xiao Weizhao doesn't fancy following. He saw Loveling come around the side, and they do disengage. Loveling putting some basic attacks down, but they will both step away.
And as soon as Cool, he flashed towards his own Wraith Camp and not to his own tower, LMQ knew there was a jungler nearby here, so wisely enough, also with Xiao Weizhao being out of mana, they just back away, don't want to risk face checking into someone like
that
Loveling.
ward disappear. What? Maybe he wasn't watching his screen because
they pinged him at least in the bottom lane, so they know he's down bottom lane now from OMG's side.
They aren't stepping away though. They're playing this one very cool. San with more pushing in towards him. Now he's going to rocket jump away. That death sentence will not land, and No Name's time is wasted. And while that was all happening, immediately Loveling moved in, took all the jungle camps.
Exactly. He gets information on where No Name is, takes that opportunity to invade the opposite side of the jungle. Very good job here by Loveling.
And it's really what we often see with OMG. They have like this trinity up in his top side with the two solo laners and Loveling, and he will always be on the top side of the map, so he can help his solo laners. Force a flash from Acroman as well here. He got some jungle farm. I mean, just look for Loveling to try and snowball his solo laners every single time you watch OMG play. And then it's all about San and Dada down his bottom lane surviving himself.
All I have to say, he's doing more than surviving right now.
Again, that's the matchup 2v2 we talked about.
Shoving it into the turret. There is a large amount of CS for Vasily to get at that turret, but he has to be able to last hit it. Up mid again, the camp here for No Name. He did slide into that bush, by the way, so this ward did not see him enter the bush. But you can see how Cool has adjusted his playstyle.
Oh, Death Sentence lands this time, and Dada do get the flay down on towards him. Vasily cautiously puts some damage down on towards him. San reacts well and quickly goes for the spot.
And we have to keep an eye on this dragon here in a few minutes, because OMG has a combo which you would call like a fight comp, where you want to go in, you want to contest dragons, you want to contest buffs because you don't want to fall behind. You don't have enough wave play in your team to fall behind and then come back in the game. So you have to be able to engage. Down his bottom lane, both junglers.
Flashes straight in towards it, put the flay down, but Loveling, they weren't expecting that response, and No Name having to slide away from this one. OMG in the right position at the right time. LMQ, if it wasn't for that jungler, could well have taken a kill here. The two top laners just brawling with each other, going Ackerman, no doubt a fight they had many moons ago back in China.
And again, Loveling, he wards for mid, he invades the top side jungle, one gank top, he gets a flash, then he's right back down bottom for the counter gank. This guy's pathing, he's very, very efficient.
And up at this top lane here, so we do have Horny guys completed very, very soon for Command. Next time actually goes back to base. And my point before with OMG having this like fight comp where you want to contest buffs, you want to fight early on, you want to try and snowball your lead, you cannot afford to fall behind. That's where this Rumble pick from LMQ can really shine, because you normally don't want a team fight, or sorry, dragon fight against a Rumble in the mid game where he really shines and his big power spike is.
Second blue spawns here. Looks like Loveling will take this one for himself. Always nice to have a Yasuo as your mid laner. They don't need it. That will give a big boost for him. As far as his experience, he's already ahead of No Name, by the way, because he was much more efficient in his route, and he was farming on the way to all of his ganks, whereas No Name spent a lot of time sitting in bushes. So Loveling here increasing the lead that he has over No Name, has hit that level 6 mark, full level.
We'll see whether they head in towards it. Xiao Weizhao continuing his farm in the bottom. These two bottom lanes, nobody's gone back. San hooked in this time with the death sentence and more. The flay does land, but Vasily doesn't answer the aggression of his support and instead steps away.
So we saw Dada here actually save his bubble because he wanted to see if Vasily wanted to react and go aggressive and then try and bubble him. There's not a lot of other options other than like.
And look at this call here, Loveling. They're timing the blue handoff with a gank down bottom. He went without stealing his or without taking his own red, called him down bottom because they knew he didn't have any wards, and now starting the dragon. This is a little bit late though. They already handed off that blue.
And LMQ had pinged this one a moment ago, so they were prepared for it. No Name's already heading down, and you see more come around. There's the teleport into the top corner. Ackerman's going to join the fight. Dada not quite hooked in by more, but LMQ will pick up the dragon here. They're going to move it towards it. OMG collapsing around the side.
awesome. Look at the mini-map here. Vasili's not there yet. It's only 4 members from LMQ so far, and everyone from OMG is already in position.
That Dragon very low. You can see Ackerman moving in. Xiao No Name trying to get close, and OMG disengaged from the Dragon. Again, it's Vasily flanking around the side onto Lovely. Lovely separated from his team here. They're going to catch the slowdown on towards him. They have the vision. Has to flash away. Can Moore get close enough to land the hook? That's the question. We're going to see the flash stun. Repels away from him, but he's got nowhere to drop down. And First Blood comes in for Vasily.
And now they've got control over the Dragon Pit. Let's see if they actually decide to go for it. This 4-man OMG squad can still poke them at it. No giant summoners used. They still have the ulti rumble.
Without the smite available, this is going to be very tricky for OMG. You've got to feel, but that 2-man bubble followed by Cole's ultimate will be enough. They get the exhaust down on him, but it doesn't matter. Ackerman goes down. More drops to the side. Going tanking up the Dragon, taken very low. Vasily fancies this one. He comes around the side.
Go, Vasily!
Cole catches on him. Vasily steals the Dragon, and OMG disengage.
He still has smite up too. Loveling. Oh, he was dead. He was dead.
Was
They didn't have a smite.
there. It was just straight up 80 carry against mid laner. Vasily managed to steal it here, so even though 2 kills went over to OMG, LMQ got the Dragon and they got the first blood. Let's see it again. This is a perfect engage. You get Bubble into Yasuo.
Great job there, knocking up. Good combo. And Rumble was able to get his ultimate down before he died, but it didn't turn around this team fight. Let's take a look at this burst from Vasily. It's over Cool. Oh, Cool tries to use his Cool. Q.
He's cool.
Fantastic stuff. So LMQ come out on top, despite the fact the gold is equal between the two. 2 kills versus 1 Dragon. Well, 2-1 if you count the whole engagement.
And remember before here, OMG actually timed the Dragon start really well because first of all, LMQ had just done their blue buff and Vasily had gone back to base. He wasn't there for the start. It was 5 members from OMG ready to take the Dragon. They started and instantly disengaged away from it and actually let LMQ jump towards them.
So the initial plan from OMG looked like a gank down bottom, but since the gank didn't pull out because Vasily had gone back to base, they changed plans very quickly. They've called an audible play. They're like, okay, we're going to try and take Dragon instead. And they got the teleport out, but then LMQ actually forced the fight.
They could have just hard engaged. I mean, they had the Maokai teleport. They could have jumped straight for LMQ when there was only 4 members. If they knew Vasily was back in base, they could have just engaged straight in. But Going actually delayed his teleport in his top lane. He waited and waited and waited until the actual fight started, and then he jumped in.
That's an advantage of having an invisible AD carry. Never quite sure if he's gone all the way back.
He was very close to being caught by that Aqua Prison as well. He just sidestepped away from it, saw it coming, realized, of course, that Cool would pounce. Pink Ward being cleared out by OMG. LMQ will lose that one out. Moore's going to come around the side again. Vasily going aggressive this time around. Forced back, though. Does put some pressure on towards them. Everyone has gone back to buy, of course. Vasily building up towards that Blade of the Rinking Wall. Infinity Edge looks like it will be the first item for Sam.
And also just again, looking back at the fight, we see OMG what they want to do with their comp. They want to make sure they don't fall behind. They want to contest these buffs as we talked about. They felt confident, even though if you look at the champions on the side of LMQ with the Rumble pick, Syndra as well, extremely strong in these like these mid-game Dragon fights. OMG were not afraid to take the fight anyway because they know you have to go for these fights.
Whoa!
Bottom lane, Moore.
That's a mistake. Moore goes in and pays the price for it. Wasn't expecting the jungler to be there, and now this may not be over yet. They're going to push on towards Vasily. No Name cuts off Data as he tries to push towards him. Pressure still going down, and they're forced away from the tower.
Second time that Loveling preys on the aggressive bottom lane. He's in position for the counter gank. They're aware Vasily's going to try and get some early aggressive moves. LMQ called their jungler down to start off the fight, but again, OMG turned it around.
And while we had some action in the bottom lane, Xiao in this mid lane actually one-on-one killed Cool on Yasuo. We didn't get to see it. Bottom lane though, Moore.
Oh, No Name killed off there. Vasily does manage to counter and get one shot. Moore comes in, throws out the lantern and pulls Vasily to safety. It was a 1-for-1 down the bottom.
1-for-1 down bottom, but yeah, you talked about that mid kill. He also got the turret. The constant pressure from Xiao, farming hard in that mid lane. Not necessarily roaming around, but dominating in his own lane.
And that was a big mistake by Cool. The fact he ends up dying one-on-one, loses his tower. So we're just gonna see the fight. So first, nice stun. We keep talking about how Yasuo has these abilities to block the ulti, to block the stun as well.
Dodge
Whenever the wall is gone, and if you manage to land a stun with Syndra, you can just destroy Yasuo one-on-one.
But all of the talk about that mid lane, it's Zhao Wei Zhao that strikes first in a straight up 1v1. And as you said, if you land that stun at the right time, it will pay dividend for you. So Zhao Wei Zhao, that's going to boost his confidence. Of course, looking at Cool, he needs his items. He's only got the static shiv right now, but that's a good start. There is a pause coming in here.
All right, well, since we've got some time here, let's look at the power curves of the two different team compositions. Currently, Rumble's got the flat penetration that he needs to have a big impact, and Vasily just completed his Blade of the Ruined King. So they have two of their very big mid-game item power spikes for both of these champion power curves. Whereas over on the side of Tristana, yes, you've completed your first big item, but it's just that single Infinity Edge. There's no extra crit to go along with it.
And that's the thing for OMG here. They need to buy some more time, but they're still going to go for the fights because they have to. You cannot just sit back, fall behind when you have no wave clear. It will make it too easy then for LMQs to simply control the entire map, walk in with your Rumble, and the Syndra, put down the Rumble ult behind the tower, and suddenly you force OMG to back away and you can just pick it up for free. A good thing for OMG is the fact they do have Tristana, who is one of the safest AD carries against the Twitch. It's very hard for Twitch to actually jump and kill her because you can just jump away and shoot him back.
Pretty sure they're LMQ chants coming out of the fans here. North American LCS being supported. You can see the TSM shirts on the front there. I'm not surprised by that one. It's pretty standard everywhere you go in the world these days. Of course, we have got a slight pause at the moment. They're just having a chat issue between each other. So obviously that's fairly crucial in a team game such as League of Legends. So they're just waiting to sort that one out.
I'm just looking at items as well here. Support items. We're actually going to see early Mikhails coming in from Dada on Nami here, so I'm sure Crepo will be very proud because, again, look at the side of LMQ. You have the Thresh Hook and you have the stun from Syndra. The Mikhails will save your life, and you need to make sure one of your carries don't get caught out of position.
They definitely do have to protect Yasuo and Tristana. One thing I definitely need to caution OMG against is if they are going to do what you're talking about and contest these objectives, be very careful about their movements through the jungle. This LMQ team has a ridiculous amount of line damage. If you feed in through one of these small corridors in the jungle, this is the perfect team from LMQ to obliterate you, and that could be the whole game.
Yeah.
If they win a 5-man ace in the mid-game jungle, LMQ can run and take that mid-game power spike all the way to the Nexus.
Which is why we're probably not going to see OMG actually invade in on the buffs here. I mean, they're going to wait for Dragon to spawn, set up some good wards around it, and then we can see them look for a fight. But they have to be so careful because of the Rumble pick, because, of course, Twitch with the Blade already completed here. So I expect OMG to actually try and sit back, keep ganking with Loveling, and just try and farm a bit more in the lanes. Get your second item completed on your Maokai, on your Yasuo, and then you can start really fighting. And of course, Tristana, who wants to get past a weak mid-game.
And let's talk about that quick bottom lane, because that's where a lot of the action has been happening. And of course, San at 2-0-2 right now. It's a big deal in the early lane phases for Tristana. 2-0-0 for Vasily as well.
Yeah, it's been fun to see how
Speaking of Vasily,
how Loving actually was sneaking in the mid lane. That's
find
nobody though.
But it's a good attempt. He was looking for the mid laner there.
Still, it's been fun to see Loveling put so much focus on the bottom lane because he knows they need to get San ahead and they want to shut down Vasily on this Twitch because he's such a dominant AD carry and LMQ often play around him a lot.
I think it's really good research here from OMG. Just
for sure.
Them researching LMQ and them just knowing this team pretty well anyway. I mean, going to China, LMQ had already lined up scrims with OMG before they saw the group stages. This was one of the teams that they were very much looking forward to scrimming and practicing against because they're very close. But as soon as the group stages came out, obviously, they had to cancel those plans.
So, mid lane grouping, 30 seconds on that Dragon. All of the pings heading down that way, and LMQ looking to try and get a pick on towards Loveling here. Oh! No Name flashes straight into the cocoon. That could be vital. They're going to turn their attentions instead, push them in.
And just a little trick for solo queue here. What Loveling did was very, very smart. He knew there was a ping ward in the bush. He didn't walk into the bush to clear it. He put his own ward so he can stand with range, safely clear it, and be ready for a potential gank from LMQ here. So smart play putting down the ward and nice reaction time. No flash for No Name for the next Dragon fight here.
Quick win wall there from Cole to block out that stun. That may well have caught him out. Zhao Wei Zhao absolutely could have pounced on it. Dragon is now up. There is a ward from OMG, so they have vision of this one, which is why you can see them all starting to group.
All right, now the options here for LMQ to try and funnel OMG through one of these jungle passages. They're cutting off all of the vision so that it makes it a very, very dangerous move for LMG to come through.
And OMG didn't time this dragon correct. Data 7 was actually recalling 20 seconds before it spawned, which allowed LMQ to walk inside the dragon area and get full control. First look onto Loveling here. Next one, he might die.
With a hook on Loveling, wasn't followed up. The stun came through from Xiao, but didn't quite land, so that's going to be a cooldown for a small moment. You can see they've got their wards in towards that death push. LMQ forced to push in and try and react to this one. Got to be so careful those Aqua Prisons don't land again.
They've got Tristana. They're trying to use that explosive shot, shove mid lane as quickly as possible, and then come back to contest.
Dragon being taken very low here. It's going to be a smite fight. The wave's going to cut them off. It's the two junglers in the pit, but it's Data 7-7 that's going to get caught out. New Name separates there on towards Lovely. They lock him down. The dragon was stolen by OMG in the meantime. He will go down and pay the price, but it is all of the gold going OMG's way.
So LMQ focus on the fight outside of Dragon, and No Name tries to jump in and duel Loveling. Loveling has the presence of mind to actually take the Dragon, but it meant that he lost the duel because he was focusing his damage on getting that smite.
They need to react here. LMQ are pushing hard in this mid lane, and there's nobody cutting around the side. We are going to see Cool come around, but they're getting a big chunk of damage down. Here comes Go. Oh! There's the ultimate once again from Cool. Slides on through the exhaust down on him fast. Is it going to be enough? Vasily locked out, and the Lancer pulls him to safety. Cool's taken down. Ackerman burning through Go. He's forced away, and Maokai cannot take the hits. Flash from Ackerman avoids the Aqua Prison, and LMQ get out. It was a 3-for-0 in the end, but the Dragon went to OMG.
And all these kills here, it falls back on the fact that OMG, they didn't time the dragon correctly. They had to be there in time, get ward control. Let's just see if they can actually kill Xiao here. They can't. But anyway, this dragon was all about getting ward control from OMG, so LMQ couldn't set it up and start landing Syndra stuns where OMG couldn't see them and get some easy picks and control the dragon here. But they didn't time it correctly. Data 7, he went back to base 20 seconds before the dragon spawned instead of be there to ward.
Let's look at this re-engage though, because this saves OMG's second turret. This is the objective answer LMQ were trying to get. The Maokai Yasuo Nami combo here, ridiculous. OMG also come out of this re-engage up some extra summoner spells. They got 3 more flashes out of it and the exhaust out of it. The exhaust is going to be a very crucial part of LMQ's team fight. So even though OMG did lose Cool in that, they saved their turret and they got a bunch of summoners down for the next team fight. We know that there are going to be more fights.
Oh, there will be way more fights, but we do really see how OMG is weaker in this mid game as well. I mean, San in the last fight on Tristana, he did 0 damage. He walked in, hit once, and then just walked away. He doesn't have enough damage. His mid game on Tristana is too weak at the moment, and Ackerman, Xiao, and Vasily together are just destroying OMG in these fights at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good point. Not only does he not have the damage from items built up yet, but he doesn't have his range stacked up from experience yet. Tristana really needs that, especially San, who likes to play more in the back of the team fight.
Well, they are forgetting about San down this bottom lane. Ackerman's going to come down and defend it, force him away with this wave clear. Meanwhile, the reverse is happening in the top for LMQ as they take down the second turret of the game for LMQ.
And while we are talking about how LMQ is winning the fights, the fact Loveling could steal the dragon beforehand and only Data 7 actually went down because he got hooked. He should never have died. The whole plan from OMG was actually to use the wave from Data 7 to cause some confusion, and then Loveling would go in to steal it. Because you saw the rest of the members from OMG. They ran away instantly. And that was smart because you never want to try and steal the dragon and then take the fight at the same time. It completely removes your jungler and makes it a 4 versus 5. So they just wanted to try and steal it. Sadly, Data 7 got hooked and ended up dying for it. But because the gold is so even and OMG's comp is so good in the late game and outscale LMQ here, it's still looking good for OMG.
Exactly. OMG, as long as they can get out of these mid-game fights with just trades, then they're very much happy with that. Rod of Ages was just completed, plus they're still waiting for Trist, and Yasuo has almost got his second item.
LMQ not in a position to defend this one. If OMG wanted to push there, they could have just taken that turret. Finally, LMQ roll around, but it has lost them a lot of time. You can see it is going to be San heading towards the top, so that's going to be a top tower going down for OMG once he gets around there.
So OMG playing it safe here. They actually had no wards around the mid lane just before now where they walked in and placed it as 5 members, so they didn't want to push up onto the tower and risk LMQ flanking around with both the Java and of course the Twitch popping out of stealth here. So OMG playing it safe. Don't want to go for the risky mid lane at this point. go top lane, place a few deep wards, and then take the top tower, which you have already pushed in, and you know the enemy team isn't nearby.
And they're continuing to push. Look at OMG, all of their movements. They see Vasily down the bottom here. They're shoving around towards the inner turret right now. Go-Going's there. Dada's coming around the side. San pushing along. There's this leave the mid lane open. Cool will take that one down, and OMG is starting to pull LMQ around the map.
This is very bad for LMQ. This is exactly what OMG want. They want to trade turrets in the mid game here. They're the ones that stand to benefit most from these influxes of global gold for their team.
Exactly. Every single time they can trade objective gold, it's a win for OMG. LMQ at this point here, for them, because they already have some of the outer turrets gone, which was why we saw Vasily stay in this bottom lane, it's all about getting the deep wards now, and you have to look for picks. You need to close out this game. You cannot afford to go full late game against a Yasuo, Maokai, and a Tristana.
That being said, LMQ have a very strong AoE. If they can land everything...
Sidestep from San, gets away from the stun. 5 members of LMG up here. They're going to go on towards him. OMG going to get caught out. No. Has he done enough, though? He's going to have to try and flash out of that one. He gets taken down. Cool. Windwall blocks everything but that one. You can see where Xiao locks on towards him. San going to take it so low. Lovely's going to get locked up. Ackerman will take him down. He's going to drop. That's a double for Xiao. Can they turn and take any objectives?
And that is exactly what Jarvan's whole job is in this team comp. He's the sacrificial lamb. Cataclysm is just supposed to keep people there to land all the AoE. They're turning this into a very early Baron, though. This is still very dangerous. We'll see if...
Taking a lot of damage here.
San and both Dada 777 are very low. Just the threat of wards over the side, though, do scare them off. LMQ seem to have wasted this little opening that they gained. Maybe they can shove a minion wave up. Dragon just appeared.
Can run straight down to Dragon here. They should be able to take it because they force OMG to stay. Let's just see the fight here. It's a beautiful engage, Grumble ult onto multiple members, and then we just see No Name jump, and he knows he's going to die, but it's all about jumping in, hoping there's a lantern for more. It's not in time, or he doesn't get out in time, and the Windwall does actually block half the ulti from Xiao
down,
but the other half just kills him.
Yeah, very unfortunate there for Cool. Does time out. But yeah, picking up the extra kills there for LMQ. Did award them the Dragon.
Is the Lantern going to be enough? He's not going to take it. He gets taken down. That's Xiao drop. Look at Sam leaping in on towards the tower. The tower hits on him. He gets locked down. Moore doesn't escape. No picks up a kill as well off the side. Lovely flashes away. Vasily found him. He gets locked by the Cocoon. Can he run away from this one? While it's all happening, going is shot.
Didn't even
get it. Goes in for the pancake. They're losing the top tower, though. They need to go across and deal with it.
So OMG here, they wanted to force LMQ to react in the mid lane so they could push the top tower at the same time here. While they got the first kill, instantly LMQ, 5 members, managed to get revenge, get 2 more kills. Vasily keep picking up kills on this Twitch here. He's going to be so fed. I mean, Ghostblade already completed.
All right, let's take another look at this. The missed stun. We talked about that in the laning phase. If Syndra ever misses her stun, then it's going to be very dangerous for her. San, as you said, jumps in. This tower still has about 4 hits left on it, and LMQ are happy to fight under it. Teleports do both come in. Canceled one of them for OMG because that turret didn't go down. And Vasily, as we know, No Name comes in for the, what's called pancake?
And didn't get it. Xiao here actually had to flash because Cool stood on the lantern so he couldn't click it. It was really smart and he flashed away. But then San, for some reason, is like, I'm just gonna jump in. I believe I can get a reset. It was terrible play, to be honest, because he jumps in and ended up just dying here and giving an easy kill over to LMQ.
So there was a change where you can still click on the lantern. You can't 100% block it, but it does make it difficult. And he didn't want to take the chance, it looked like. As soon as you walk away from it, you don't want to.
Even if it's like,
you don't want to go back.
Can you still click it?
Yeah.
Well, this game is very much all about the AD carries right now. 4-0-4 and 4-1-3. Both Vasily and San playing fantastically well. LMQ grouping as a 5, but they are pushing up against a 5-man OMG. Everybody in defensive line here, and look across the side, they're lovely, looking to try and catch somebody out.
Yeah, all LMQ needs here is wards on the side, on the flank here, so they can spot OMG trying to flank around them and just keep pressing up in this mid lane. There's not a lot of wave clear. Only Tristana is there to clear the waves, and maybe Cool if you can get a tornado off.
Yeah, I think it's all about LMQ using the terrain to their advantage so that they can better lay these ultimates down. The zone control is everything for LMQ right now. They need to be able to funnel this area of effect because OMG, they've hit their power. They're ready to fight now. This Rod of Ages is fully stacked. They have the 2-item combos.
Oh, the hook. It's only going. That's not the target they want. Ackerman takes a fair bit of burst there. Sand forces him away. And the Cocoon lands on more. Will they go for it? It is only the support. Look, there's the hook. Lovely gets separated from his team. Going comes in. And still Cool waiting to find his ultimate. Who can he land it on? Sand forced away from this one. There's the ultimate coming in, but it doesn't do enough for Cool. The death sentence lands from more. He gets the hook down. Sand jumps away with a poison. Finishes him up with Vasily. Stun comes out and going. And OMG are dropping all across the map. It's a 4-0 to LMQ.
And look how hard it is for OMG to actually engage the fight here. They have to run straight towards the Rumble. Ackerman's ult in this fight here. Once we get the replay, it's on to 4 people. It was perfect. And LMQ, they kite back, they get the hook, they get the first kill, and manage to take the fight, even though we had some great ultis coming in from OMG.
10 more seconds here left on Yasuo. They should be able to get the inhibitor and retreat before they get stopped. Dada gonna try and do his best here to slow them down, but there are minion waves on that top side and the bottom that they need to clear out. So OMG's chance for a rebuttal is very, very slim here. Pretty much an all-around big pickup for LMQ.
And while OMG had started to get their second items completed, Cool actually didn't have his Infinity yet. Let's see it again. Look how hard it is for OMG to actually engage onto LMQ. They can easily just kite back because OMG is not able to either flash engage or flank around him. And then the ulti from Ackerman is the MVP ult here.
And look how little damage San is able to put out. That's the second Cinder Stun that hit him. He had to walk back over the Rumble ultimate. He gets maybe 4 auto attacks off this whole fight. And then Ackerman finishes off with the flash.
And he would have been able to completely clean up the fight here. There were so many low members, but because of all the long-range damage he'd taken, he was forced to back away, actually end up dying as well, because he flashes away too late here. He could have cleaned up that fight if he had been healthy, but too much damage from range.
Is too low level. He doesn't have the range he needs. Vasily just pops his ult, and he's able to spray and pray the entire, or rat-a-tat-tat, the entire team fight. Whereas San, as we said, doesn't get off as many autos as he would like.
You know, all the focus we've had in and around AD carries, the mid lane is a gigantic difference right now. Xiao Zhao, 6-1-3 on that Syndra, whereas Cool, all of the hype over him, 1-4-4. He's finally got his item, so we'll see whether he can turn those stats around.
And we just have to give full credit to Xiao Weishao on this Syndra pick here. He's been landing so many
he's going for it
in this fight. On to Sani from Vasily.
San caught out, rat-a-tat-tat, he's running down. He flashes for it. Teleport comes in, Moore is ready. Cancel straight out there. Going doesn't want any of it. There were super minions with him. And now, with the Baron up, they're moving towards it.
The mid-game lane pickoffs from Twitch. Beautifully executed from LMQ. Vasily using that champion extensively in North America, but now they're on this Baron. They didn't see that ward, by the way, so OMG no.
Oh, they're going to come around. They're going to force onto Lovely. This is the jungler they wanted. Is it enough to trap him down there? I'm not too sure. They focus on him. They will lock him down. Ackerman comes in and Vasily goes godlike at 7-0-7.
And LMQ is playing that comp so well. They keep getting these picks here. They keep a great wards to spot where OMG is moving on the map. And they are strong at this point still. They still have the item advantage and they use it. They never give OMG a chance to just sit back and farm.
Another 3-man stun comes out from Xiao Weishao. He's going to be focused on. Pops the Sonya's hourglass. The wave comes through. Is it enough to lock? Cool up. The exhaust goes down on him. He gets dropped as well. The Baron was picked up in the meantime by LMQ. Going's got nowhere to run. He will be picked off. That's going to be Vasily finding another one. No Nate comes in. San's reset. There's super minions on the base. San rocket jumping away. That is a Nexus turret going down there, ladies and gentlemen. There's super minions beating the hell out of OMG right now.
They've got 30 seconds here to work with, and they can pressure more. Another bottom turret possibly could be taken here from LMQ or the Dragon. There's so many options. They can just clean up the map right now. Everybody in OMG has to be on super minion duty.
And what we see again also from OMG is once you fall behind with a comp like this where you're forced to team fight all the time, you cannot sit and defend your towers. It is too easy for the other team to control the map, to siege up on your tower. Even with a Twitch, LMQ could force OMG to stand there and defend. 5 members, as we saw earlier, win the fight as well. Now to start getting the picks too. It is looking so good for LMQ here. And at this point for OMG, your only chance is actually to set up a trap in your own jungle or in one of the side lanes and hope a guy from LMQ will just face check you and you can kill him and buy time.
Yeah, they have to catch LMQ separated because LMQ have done too good of a job with their area control. They have so much area effect damage. They've been able to take out multiple people from OMG at the same time, and there's been no response.
And remember all the action in bottom lane. In the laning phase, Loveling was down there twice to set up some kills for his team, yet they never managed to kill Vasily. While he's very far behind in farm, he's been getting all the kills in these team fights together with Xiao Wei Xiao.
The other bonus about this LMQ team is they have so many damage sources that even if there's a good Yasuo combo, as long as Vasily, Ackerman, and Xiao Wei Xiao are standing apart from each other, then there's still going to be constant AoE coming out from LMQ.
Inhibitor goes down, and LMQ with the Baron buff continue to roll on through OMG's base. It really got to wonder which LMQ was going to turn up today, and it seems to be the one that's dominated the North American League outside of the playoffs. The playoffs, maybe the nerves, they shook them off against Curse. They managed to get that final 3rd spot, and it appears that they have turned up with a heck of a lot of confidence in game 1.
There's really been some key moments in the game. Also, Xiao Wei Xiao killing Cool in the mid lane one-on-one. And taking the mid tower was huge for him. LMQ opened up the map. Now you can go and get some D-wards like they used. And also there's the fact that Syndra got so far ahead. You got a very early hourglass as well for Xiao Wei Xiao. So suddenly, you couldn't just kill him in team fights as well.
The North American regular season MVP definitely showing up on the international stage here. Oh, good hook.
Oh, hook on Sand, the AD carry. Doesn't quite get locked in. The Aqua Prison on more is enough. The tower hits go through, but again, nobody pulls the trigger on OMG just yet.
That is crucial disengage down for OMG. Now they have no more answers.
Going hooked in. Death Sentence lands. There goes jumping on towards him. Xiao Wei Xiao locks on towards him. Look at the stun damage that comes out from Xiao Wei Xiao. Locking straight on towards him. The Equalizer cuts them apart. And Vasily gets himself a second 2 kills. Cool is locked up. The exhaust goes on towards him. He is helpless against this LMQ team. That's just going to be Sad jumping away to safety. But LMQ with the super minions will push on through and take game 1 in the group stage over OMG. Sad locked up and goes down towards the end. There's the ace. There's the game. LMQ win game 1.
And congratulations, very well executed composition right there from LMQ. Just a couple of hiccups early. The counter ganks from OMG were great. Loveling in place several times at the right time to prey on that aggressive bottom lane. But in the end, not enough. The comp from LMQ just comes together.
Yes, I love the research and strategy LMQ used in this game here. OMG as a team, they will always contest dragons. They will always contest barons. They want to play these team fighting comps, and they want to play it from the start of the game till the end of the game here. So LMQ running an extremely strong mid-game comp to get the lead in these team fights and punish OMG when they want to go for fights was so smart, because OMG couldn't 5 versus 5 them, and they fell too far behind, and LMQ just used this mid-game power spike and this mid-game push they got to keep the lead, keep getting picks, and just win the game.
Which is right in their wheelhouse too. This is what LMQ
fit in
loves
perfectly.
to do.
And just look at the stats of the players. I mean, honestly, a 10-0-9 for Vasily in his first game. 7-2-9 for Xiao Wei Xiao. They really have turned up when it counts. 16 assists for No Name, 20 assists for More.
Insane stats. And it's really fun to also look at the CS numbers, because again, Xiao Wei Xiao and Vasily has been the 2 best farmers in the West. Also EU, and in EU as well, we have some mid laners who really love to farm. Doesn't matter. Xiao Wei Xiao and Vasily, they had the highest goal per 10, farm per 10 at 10 minutes and 20 minutes. In this game, they barely farmed at all, other than champions. It was basically just farming champions every single time.
And we knew what we were up against. We knew it was going to be team fights. We knew that was going to happen in this game. And, you know, everybody, obviously, of course, China, well represented in terms of team fights. Everyone expects them to do so well, but LMQ met them every step of the way.
This rumble pick in top lane. Sorry, take it, man. Take it. I've been talking for too long.
The rumble pick was great. I wanted to give some more love to Moore here, because 21 out of 23 kills he participated in. With how many fights there were,
a lot
that's
of
not
great
easy
death
to do.
sentences.
I'm going back to the Rumble pick.
Okay, go back. All right,
Because
we're ready now. This has been
I
a really
think
big thing for group stages.
It has, and it's the perfect pick against a team who wants to fight you, especially in the mid game. We saw the Rumble ults here. You cannot do anything against it. It gives you the entire advantage in these fights. Ackerman played it perfectly. We talked about how AP champions for him was great. When he played Gragas top lane, he was looking so strong. Rumble here. It should be banned against him if you want to fight in the mid game.
And it comes back to that pick ban phase. We talked about the bait for Maokai, leaving LMQ leave Maokai up because they wanted to use that Rumble.
Absolutely fantastic first game here in Singapore. For an insider look at LMQ's win, we are going to head back over towards the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, guys. Feels like Deficio wants to join the analyst desk, actually. Quite excited there. Let me just quickly go back a little bit. LMQ is a less refined version of OMG. OMG team fights better. Let me think. Xiaowei Xiao is not going to do well against Cool. Soloed him. No Names, not a strong jungler. Let me wrap this off with everyone's underrating LMQ. I think... You know,
Professor Crumbledore.
Did I say that?
Oh, I think you did.
I'm
Congratulations.
sorry.
What a
I
game from
couldn't
LMQ.
hear that over the screeching bald eagle that went by.
How is anyone supposed to predict that OMG played so bad? Like,
Krubs, what did your team do so well that beat their team in this match?
Now, what I really liked here is that the team comp, obviously, as Deficio was touching up on, it was focused on team fighting a lot, and it was a triple threat comp, but OMG had a Yasuo. Now, Winwall can single-handedly destroy that entire team comp. Blocks Twitch ulti, blocks every Syndra ability, and as probably talked to me, it blocks Rumble ulti as well. So what I wanted to see OMG do was ignore Dragon and then have Yasuo split push while LMQ committed to a Dragon fight. But that never happened, and then LMQ just team fight over and over and over because that's what OMG wanted to do apparently, and they ended up losing for it.
Yeah, that's actually where the game got really like decided at those dragons. The only reason the game didn't swing completely in LMQ's way is because OMG managed to kind of outplay LMQ early a couple of times, but they still came out on top just given their team comp, because OMG as a team has such a propensity to fight all the time, and LMQ just answered that with a triple threat combo. I think we have a replay as well from like the first dragon fight where I just want to highlight a couple of things in like both compositions. So if you get it on your screen, basically LMQ going for this dragon is really good. That's what they want. Like they have this like triple threat combo, a lot of AoE damage. OMG should not be contesting this. I just want to highlight something really good that OMG does in this fight is they've already lost their jungle, right? This is OMG. They lost their jungle. They're 4 against 5 against a composition they should not do dragon against. What they do, like, well, we'll try and outplay you. So if we roll the clip right here, they're just going ham. And the beautiful thing I want to show you is like this Nami bubble knocks up 2, Yasuo holds, and then goes at the very end, allows Maokai to just follow up a little closer, and they try to wombo combo that. But even here, like, look at that Rumble ulti. You shouldn't be fighting this. You get very lucky if you even come out alive. And especially if you look towards the next dragon as well, where I think OMG ends up stealing it randomly. Yeah. If LMQ just got a little more lucky, this game would have already been over here. OMG just made very bad decisions.
Yeah, what about the re-engage from LMQ? They lost a few members after that 4v5, but LMQ also, you know, sticking around, going a bit deep. I want to ask Doublelift about the Twitch pick, because when picks and bans are going in, you were not convinced with Twitch.
Oh, God.
How has your mind changed?
I just hate it, because Maokai is a champion that's really, really good at dealing with that kind of line damage, and especially somebody with no mobility. Maokai Yasuo should be able to deal with Twitch very easily. Not only does Yasuo's wind wall just completely negate Twitch ulti, but you have no mobility to escape this kind of Yasuo wombo combo. But the caveat to OMG's team comp is that Yasuo doesn't get solo killed and just falls so far behind. So I guess
Probably
it didn't work
that
out.
matchup, that had to have surprised you.
Yeah, well, the matchup is pretty awful for both sides, I would say. You saw early on, like, Xiao Xiao was getting bullied, and then later on, Cool got solo killed. I think that's why the Twitch pick worked.
Yes.
Honestly. If Yasuo was able to get to his Shiv early, able to get to that BF sword early, it wouldn't have gone that way. But I think they had 2 team fights where Yasuo had just a Shiv, which basically means he ults in, does 100 magic damage to everyone, and then dies.
I had a pretty big problem with OMG's decision to teamfight, first of all. But besides that, we saw Elise go out with a Sightstone, a Spirit Stone, and a Negatron. So I was hoping, oh, finally, we're going to see our team get an Aegis against a double AP comp. Amazing. It's going to happen. And then she goes Banshees, and then they keep trying to teamfight. It makes no sense. If you want a teamfight, please just buy the item. It wins you the fights.
Something else that caught my eye in picks and bans was the first pick Thresh. Honestly, initially I think it wasn't very smart, but looking what Moore managed to do with it outside of laning phase, I think his laning phase.
So glad you say that.
I think it was a little getting used to the LAN vibes again, because when he flashed and flayed, there was too big of a pause in between. There was a couple of like non-prediction hooks like that he didn't want to risk. But then once he got outside of the laning phase, there's a reason we sometimes call him the facilitator, because he just gets like Vasily so fed. He sets up like all these fights. I think every fight that they won started with a hook from Moore, especially if you remember the one in mid lane.
Just by chance, folks, like you know. Let's pull that replay up onto your screen. It's about 26 minutes. As you said, in the mid lane, there's a little bit of dancing back and forth. Doublelift, I want you to take us through this clip.
The thing to note here is that Loveling has had horrible positioning the whole game, and he just hit a cocoon on Thresh. Okay, Hook has 1,000 range. You can roll the clip. Why does he walk up to do that? And then he jukes back into the hook. I don't know what he's doing, but once somebody gets hooked and there's this equalizer to cut off the rest of OMG, there's absolutely no way they can go in to save their jungler. And at this point, it's just cleanup duty for LMQ. I mean, look at this amazing win wall, but it doesn't matter. They're just so outnumbered, and Sand has been zoned from this equalizer. It doesn't matter that Cool is going in with this two-man ulti, and it's just so uncoordinated, and it's all started because of Loveling's awful positioning the entire game.
Yeah, Sand really was potentially set up to clean house, get those resets
He was.
down.
Look at all these people that are so low on HP. And I mean, you can see, like, at the very end, it's just with the skin of their teeth, LMQ can make it out with 1% HP on, like, 4 people.
Yeah, if you overreach into, like, this triple threat combo that can counter-engage with Rumble and Jarvan ulti, that gives Twitch, like, the freedom and the safety that he needs. At the same time, Windwall, yeah, he can screw him over, but Zhao's stuns, they were on point. Like, he's basically blowing this fight forward, and there's no need for Twitch to need, like, he doesn't need any peel anymore because everything is just dying in front of him, and he can just light him up from the back line.
Closing thoughts from Prolly?
I think one thing that we keep forgetting to mention is Ackerman's Rumble ult were sick. He wasn't doing ults in like the banana bush or like anywhere closed space. He was doing Rumble ults in the middle of lanes, and they were perfectly across the enemy team, and they couldn't deal with it. That's really hard to do with Rumble, because normally you need the closed space to do that kind of thing.
It did lose to go going though. Counter pick and
in lane, he did. Final thoughts, Crunch, we really need to move.
He only lost in lane because Maokai started getting assists though, but I was happy that Ackerman performed in the mages.
Yeah, well, I do have to move this one along. Thank you for that, guys. We are going to check in with Shox, who is standing by with one of the victorious players from LMQ.
Thank you very much, Quick Shot, and I'm here with LMQ's Vasily after that fantastic game by them. Vasily, first up, talk to me about the Twitch pick, because a very risky pick for the first game here.
他说：“请问一下，你选老鼠的时候心里在想什么？因为感觉是一个非常特别的选择。
因为老鼠对整个团队的输出帮助很大，越到后期越厉害，所以选择这个我是为了团队。”
I was thinking Twitch is a late game champ, and by picking Twitch, I can help my team out more in the late games.
And absolutely worked out like that. Secondly, it looks like LMQ is a totally different team than what we saw in playoffs. What was your preparation like coming into this?
他说 LMQ 感觉从北美季后赛到现在又有很多差别了。那你们是如何准备世界大赛的？
我一直保持着一颗很平常的心，因为我们已经进入了这个组，而且虽然大家看起来我们不幸运，但是我认为我很幸运能和这么多特别强力的队伍交手。
So we keep a calm approach to the game. We treat it like every other game, and by doing this, we should be able to beat the strong teams.
Yeah, let me ask you about those other teams. What does this do for your team spirit that in the very first game you play here at the World Championship, you go legendary and your team does amazing?
想说接受你们要遇到很强的队伍，可是你第一场就拿到超神的境界，那这对你们接下来比赛有什么帮助？
赢了这场比赛之后，我并没有感觉什么特别开心之类的，还是一直保持着一颗很平常的心，所以之后的发生的任何事情我都不在乎，只是尽力的去打好自己该打的东西。
He said by winning this game, he's not extremely happy. He's still level-headed, you know. They're keeping calm, and they will keep approaching the games like they should.
All right, well, thank you very much and congratulations. All right, the action in Singapore is just getting started, and when we come back, the first Brazilian team to ever compete at Worlds will take on Korea's D1G1. We'll be right back.
tricky for OMG. You've got to feel, but that two-man bubble followed by Cole's ultimate will be enough. They get the exhaust down on him, but it doesn't matter. There's the ultimate once again from Cole. Slides on through the exhaust down on him fast. Is it going to be enough? Vasily locked out, and the Lantern pulls him to safety. The death sentence lands from more. He gets the hook down. San jumps away with a poison, finishes him off with Vasily. Xiao Weishao locks on towards him. Look at the stun damage that comes out from Xiao Weishao. Locking straight on towards him.